Patapon, a game that needs no introduction. Many people associate the game with their childhood, back when the PlayStation Portable was around. In case you don't know what the game is about, it is a rhythm-based strategy game where you turn into a god who commands an army of Patapons. You have to make your way through various levels, enemies and bosses in order to find Earthend. Earthend is the promised land of the Patapons. According to the legends of the Patapons, at Earthend they must gaze upon it to be granted with eternal bliss. With that out of the way, the Patapon trilogy has many secrets and information not known to most people, so we'll be covering them today in the form of an iceberg. Like all other icebergs, we'll start at the top, where the most basic and commonly known things are said, and with each step lower, we'll be uncovering the more bizarre and weird facts about Patapon. If we missed anything cool or interesting, please point it out in the comments below. Spoiler warning, some of the entries relate to events happening in the Patapon lore. Enjoy! Makoton is Rage Wolf. Makoton is a character that we first met in Patapon 1. We meet him and his girlfriend, Aiton. After destroying the tower they were both standing on, Aiton dies and Makoton retreats, promising his revenge. From that point on, Makoton grows a never-ending hatred towards Patapons. Through the first game, Makoton tries his best to help in defeating the Patapons. In Patapon 2, he sells his soul to the underworld, changing into the Dark One. In Patapon 3, though it's not directly mentioned, it is very likely that he takes the form of Madfang Ragewolf, the first dark hero we meet in the game. He has a huge hatred towards Patapons, but not for the same reason as other antagonists in Patapon 3. And Silver Hoshipon mentions that he is from the player's past, and that he lost a loved one. Notifins is the princess. Notifins is another dark hero from Patapon 3. If you pick the correct dialogues in your playthrough, it is revealed that she was the Patapon princess all along. Gong is Ravenous. Ravenous is another dark hero from Patapon 3. During your playthrough it is revealed that Gong, the recurring character since Patapon 1, is actually rottenly ravenous.
Ultimate Equipment. Ultimate Equipment is a set of equipment in Patapon 3 that is obtainable only from extremely rare pink chests in specific conditions. Once the right conditions are met, there's a 0.1% chance of getting one piece of Ultimate Equipment. In the vanilla game, after obtaining one of these pieces of equipment, you cannot obtain any other unless you create a new save.
Obtainable Tategami. In the mission, World's First Hoshipon Convention. If you wait long enough next to the finish line, you'll get the Tategami Sutra for free.
Patapon 2 debug menu. In the European version of Patapon 2, the developers accidentally left the debug menu available after inputting a PSP equivalent of Konami code. Debug menu can be used to give yourself every single piece of equipment, unlock rare epons and max out their levels, unlock minigames, play specific missions and so on.
Patapon 3 Anti-Cheat Infection. Patapon 3 has a simple cheat detection system. The game stores your highest legally achieved hero level in a variable. If you happen to have an item or a character with a level exceeding that variable, the game would lock it and stop progressing it. This affects the level of the loot you get from chests. The function that sets the flag has an unexpected behavior. If the host of a multiplayer game cheated and then disconnected while on mission, all the players in the session would also get flagged as hackers, possibly locking out their progression. The infection can be cured with a code or by changing the set variable manually. GZPie Save. GZPie is a fully maxed out save data for Patapon 3. Many people downloaded it and entered online lobbies. The signature of GZPie save data is having multiple pieces of plus 40 super unique equipment and non-functional ultimate equipment. The most remarkable among them is level 99 Pest Tramp Sword. Because the GZPie save data was created on the dawn of Patapon 3, the author of the save was probably unaware that in the base game, super unique and unique items max out at levels 21 and 24 respectively.
Patapon Remastered is emulated. Patapon Remastered is, as the name suggests, a remastered version of Patapon released for the PS4. At first glance, many people believed that the game was rewritten from scratch for the PS4 with HD textures and better playability. After dumping a decrypted copy of Patapon Remastered and extracting the contents, it turns out that it's an original PSP copy of Patapon running on an emulator called PSP HD.
Glitch class skills. After finishing Patapon Free, the game offers you to play as the Dark Heroes. Due to the game being rushed near the end of its development, Dark Hero mode contains many bugs, with the biggest of them being class skills that either cannot be fully completed or don't grant the bonuses they are supposed to.
Rage Wolf's death. Near the end of the Patapon Free story, the Dark Heroes get into a heated argument with Rage Wolf, where they get rid of him. From that point on in the story, Rage Wolf is nowhere to be found, so he was probably executed by his fellow friends.
Grass grinding. When you destroy grass through burning it with fire equipment, you get a small amount of XP. In Patapon 3, there are multiple ways to generate infinite grass. Patapon players exploited these two facts to create a leveling method called grass grinding, where you continuously spawn and burn grass to gain levels.
Patapon Free debug menu. Just like Patapon 2, Patapon Free also has a debug menu, but this time it's not possible to unlock it by regular means. The first ever mention of the debug menu was a YouTube video by the Mr. Playhard from April 11th, 2011, one day before the official release, so it was most likely a development sample. It is possible to open the debug menu in the release version, but only through hacking. Hackers that did manage to open it don't disclose any way of accessing it, due to the online community still being very active to this day, and that with the nature of the menu being for, well, debugging, it would absolutely destroy all fun you could have on the online versus mode. So, no debug for you!
Moyagami Sutra. Sutras in Patapon 3 are special mechanics that allow the player to score points through inputting various button combinations. The more points you get, the more damage you deal to the enemy. There are 8 obtainable sutras and a special one called Moyagami. Moyagami is impossible to obtain through normal means. Using Moyagami in-game shows that it's unfinished, as it has no graphical effects and uses a default soundtrack.
Gitten Patapon theme. Gitten Patapon is an unused theme in Patapon 3 that was made specifically for Hellgate Versus mode, which was removed during late development. Thankfully, you can still obtain and use this theme through hacking.
Patapon cosplayers. Due to the nature of the character design in Patapon, it's harder to properly cosplay them. That never stopped enthusiasts, and thus bizarre photos and videos of them were shared among forums of early 2010s.
Patapon 2 Remastered Debug Incident. As stated earlier, the remastered version of Patapon are emulated through PSP HD. When Patapon 2 Remastered was released, the Patapon 2 debug menu was carried over, resulting in people getting most of the PS4 trophies really easily. It was patched very quickly after it was discovered. Props to the dev team.
Old Wonderbarappa mask. In development versions of Patapon 3, Wonderbarappa's mask was blue instead of brown.
Patapon official wallpaper creator. Back in the day when Patapon was being released, many flash games were released to promote the game further. The flash games after completion allowed you to create your own custom wallpapers using HD versions of the assets from Patapon games.
Crazy save. Similar case to the GZPie save that was mentioned earlier, Crazy Save also had mask modifications as one of its key features. Demo Pokerimaka theme. The first Patapon 3 demos had a slightly different versions of the Pokore Market theme.
No translation needed. As you can imagine, there are obviously many text strings within the game that didn't make it into the final release. So, the Patapon translation team, instead of translating them like every other string, replaced them with text saying no translation needed in parentheses, which can be seen a lot when you are hacking in unused items.
Patapon 2 Safe Exploit. The Patapon 2 demo was very famous back in the early PSP days due to one of its bugs in the code. In short, the player's name was limited to 4 characters when using the PSP keyboard, but there was no technical limit to it. When modifying the save data's binary contents, you could change your player name to whatever you wanted. The PSP hacking scene used this to their advantage. When the name was too long, it overwrote other important sections of the memory that were executed by the game's code. This allowed hackers to inject their own instructions, which redirected Patapon 2 execution to a separate program called Half-Byte Loader. It allowed them to run pirated games and homebrews, being a key factor in cracking PSP software to make custom firmware.
Patapon 1 Debug Menu. As all the other games in the trilogy, Patapon 1 also had its own debug menu, although it took the longest to find and activate from all of the 3 games. It was locked by default, and the unlocking method was more difficult than the other games. With this debug menu, you were able to run some functions of the game that are never used anywhere else.
Hellgate Versus. Hellgate Versus mode is an unused 4 versus mode in Patapon 3. As of now, there is no way to play it, however a lot of its code and essence remain intact. There's an unused tip describing how this mode was supposed to be played, certain text strings regarding it, textures, and even spawnable entities. Nobody knows why it was removed. Many suggest that the developers didn't have much time left from the release and decided to leave Hellgate Forever disabled. Who knows, maybe someday we'll be able to play it? Probably not. Cosmo Serpents. Cosmo Serpents were supposed to be 3 new bosses accessible via DLC. However, the DLC containing them never saw the light of day, and as a result, the Cosmo Serpents were kept hidden. That is, until the 1st of March 2018, when Patapedia user NovaKirby17 pointed out that there are 4 hidden DLC missions not available in the downloadable packages, and 3 of them were the Cosmo Serpents. After some digging, hackers managed to find the mission names along with the fully playable boss missions.
Garuru in Patapon 3. Garuru is a stronger form of Goruru, the final boss of Patapon 1. Both bosses had an appearance in Patapon 2, but in Patapon 3 only Goruru was featured as a really rare boss appearance. Garuru was featured only in one of the hidden 4 DLC missions, not normally downloadable. That means if we never found out the hidden DLC missions, Garuru would be exclusive boss of Patapon 2.
Weather indicators. Patapon 3 development screenshots showed what appeared to be a current weather indicator on the selected map. This feature didn't make it to the final game, although it is possible to activate it via advanced hacking.
No message. When running unused cutscenes, the characters instead of dialogues will say no message. This is because there is no text for them to load from.
Mochichichi original design. Before Patapon 2 was released, a lot of development and promo material was shown. In one of the screenshots, you can see an early version of the Mochichichi boss. Beta Carmens. In the same early promo materials, you can see a lot of strange masked enemies. These are believed to be early versions of the Carmens.
Resonance combos. Patapon 3 was originally supposed to have a combo feature. It is unclear how it was supposed to work, but in certain game strings you can see what the names of these combos were supposed to be, like Over Technology, Heat Rider, Nasu no Yoichi, etc. Based on their descriptions, it is possible that specific equipment sets could have displayed these names.
Gong's Shockwave. During the fight with Gong, there is a really small chance that Gong will use a shockwave instead of a tornado.
minor minigame. When looking into the game files of Patapon 1, the minigames featured all available ones, plus a strange unknown one. It was called soundgame_mind.bnd. Upon being discovered, we were able to extract the textures and sounds, but no one had a faint idea on what it could possibly be and how the gameplay would look like. The minigame was completely unplayable in the original Patapon 1 release. That is, until early 2019, 11 years after the initial Patapon 1 release, when we got our hands on a special Patapon 1 version that was able to play the secret minigame. It's amazing, and it's a shame that it was cut from the final game in exchange for a rock baby.
Unused training missions. One of the features of debug mode in Patapon 3 can unlock all the missions on the world map, including placeholder missions and unused missions. Unlike other locations, Patapon Training Grounds has names and descriptions for some of them. These are Cumulative Training, Undo Status Effect Training, Charge Attack/Charge Defense Training, and Summoning Training. The last one is most likely cut because it doesn't match the story progression where the player character only obtains Summoning Sutra after clearing Arena of Battle.
Fat Patapon. During Patapon 1 Remastered release, we are granted an exclusive Patapon theme for the PS4 main menu, which featured an absurdly drawn Patapon.
Guppy Puppy is two themes. In one of the Patapon 3 themes called Guppy Puppy, there is an inconsistency. The last 8 seconds heard during the mission are different from what can be heard in the Patapon Complete soundtrack. Chariot Attack was once Gekoroth's spirit. In one of the Patapon 3 multiplayer demos, Charibasa had a Gekoroth icon as his third class skill instead of a chariot wheel icon seen in full release.
White Dodonga. Early promotional videos, as well as pre-release versions of Patapon 1, had a different version of the first boss, Dodonga, where his main color was white instead of turquoise.
Patapon 2 Japanese TV ad. Patapon 2 back in the day got a lot of promo materials, one of which was broadcasted in Japanese TV and was really bizarre. Viewer discretion is advised. Dummy. Dummy is one of unused classes featured in Patapon 3. Its purpose is unknown and it is unplayable.
Text not for in-game use, translation equals Toripon description. Toripons were originally meant to join the rest of the classes as Uber heroes in Patapon 3. For those unfamiliar, Toripons are Patapons mounted on birds that throw spears from above. Anything regarding Toripons in Patapon 3 was completely removed, except for some models, textures, and strings. The string we are talking about was a description of the deleted Uber hero Toripon class.
Nate. Nate is a Komopon which was removed from Patapon 2, but his class data was possible to find and replicate in the final game. His stats and appearance is very similar to Arton. Slug Turtle used maces. Among many other unused content pieces for Dark Hero Hideout, you may find a special team card for Slug Turtle. He is portrayed wielding a mace weapon, shaped like a turtle's head. If you also pay attention to the background of Dark Hero Armory and Barracks, you may find several copies of the Butcher's Sword among Nutufin's Ice Spikes and Ravenous Scythes. In the release game, swords aren't used by any Dark Hero, so it's supposed that Slop Turtle was first designed to wield melee weapons. Original Cave of Valor design. Cave of Valor, the first dungeon in Patapon 3, looks very different in early chrono material than it is in the final game.
Patapon is running on a 3D engine. All Patapon games in the trilogy are made on a 3D engine. All models and animations are 3D, but the whole game, camera and lighting is made so that the game appears 2D.
European Players Save League. Back in the day when the Patapon 3 community was really active, many players asked for favors from others that knew the game mechanics better, such as changing the player's name, removing infection, or fixing glitches. The favors were done through sending players' save data to the Patapon hackers. All was well until one day one of the hackers decided to upload all save data they had for everyone to download and use on multiplayer.
This game is Labo. When analyzing Patapon game files, you can stumble upon a lot of mentions of the word Labo. Most notable one is This Game is Labo, which summarizes Patapon's development as one big laboratory full of experiments. Patapon 2 is internally named Labo 2, and Patapon 3 is internally called Labo 3. Or piece of shit. PESS030190. This is the codename of a Patapon 3 test sample disk of which the origins and contents are unknown.
The Missing Mask. Patapon 2 promotional materials feature a hero character with a mask that is not present in the final game. Toripons and Patapon 1. Toripons were originally introduced in Patapon 2 as a new class derived from the Spear Tree. However, when analyzing Patapon 1's code and files, you can find first mentions of a Toripon class there, such as Bird Soldier.
Egapon. Egapon was a flash game parody of Patapon 3 starring Egashiya Hideharu, a popular Japanese comedian. The game was made to promote Patapon 3 before its release, though it is now considered lost media as the only remnants of it are some videos on YouTube of its gameplay.
パタポン3を俺が占拠してやる。エガポンスタートだ。エガポン。エガポン。エガポン。エガポン。エガポン。じゃんじゃじゃんじゃんじゃじゃん。フィーバー。
Original Bunny Pond design. During your Patapon playthrough, you can find a helm called Bunny Hood. The description says, the helmet of an age-old Patapon ally, Bunny Pond. In some promotional materials of Patapon, you can see an enemy, mini-boss-like character wearing the same helmet.
Patapon official ringtones. The official Patapon website had Patapon ringtones for download. The website is now dead and the web archive does not show any results. The ringtones are now unfortunately considered lost media.
Hero's Torture. In Patapon 3 there's an unused cutscene that was most likely removed from the storyline due to it being graphic and not satisfying the age requirements. It depicts Hero from Patapon 2 having his arms and legs torn off by an unknown force, most likely an Archfiend.
The little bird flew the co-op and now it is no more. This string of text can be found unused in Patapon 3 files. It tells the story of the Toripon class in the last game of the Patapon trilogy. Unfortunately, now it is no more, as it was removed completely from the game. Holy Mist and Venomist once hurt everyone. In the early Patapon 3 demos, the descriptions of two Mahapon spells, Holy Mist and Venomist, said that it hurt both enemies and allies during attack. Original drum colors. In the earliest Patapon promotional materials, the drums had different colors than in the original game. Pato was red, Pon was pink, Chaka was green and Dawn was blue.
UCJP00125. This is the codename for the earliest Patapon prototype that we know of. On December 11, 2018, modder Madwig found an offer from a Japanese seller, selling PSP UMDs of many game prototypes, one of them being UCJP00125, a super early version of Patapon that is very different from the official release. This includes a lot of different textures, mechanics, incomplete translations, different missions, and many other secrets waiting to be discovered. The betas have been purchased by Owocek, Shockturtle, and Madwig, and are now publicly available to preserve the history of Patapon. There are promo screenshots and videos of even earlier versions, but they remain forever unknown, until they either leak or someone decides to sell them. Silver Hashipon's Laugh. This strange and bizarre laugh was found in Patapon Free's files and is believed to be an unused laugh for Silver Hashipon. Here's how it sounds.
Patapon 3 Remastered is cancelled. After Patapon 2 Remastered was delayed by 2 years, chances for Patapon 3 Remastered are believed to drop to 0. There hasn't been any news, leaks, or mentions of Patapon 3 Remastered being in production. It most likely has been cancelled, but who knows, maybe Sony will surprise us?
Sasoriton. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Scrap Akumapon General, please write something here. I think you should just say this out loud and let the viewers figure out what you meant, LMAO.
DLC Mission 31. DLC Mission 31 is a non-existent mission without any files or description. The only reason we know about it is because it is only ever referred to in the world map file. We will most likely never know what it was supposed to be.
Akumapons doesn't exist. As it turns out, Akumapon is a fan term for the enemies appearing in Patapon 2 and 3. Their official name is unknown.
Gong's Blaze Wall. In the earliest available Patapon prototype, you can hack into a debug unused mission that contains Gong only. Gong uses an attack that has been never used anywhere else beside that one mission, a Blaze Wall. It's incredible what we had to go through to find this single unused attack. After 11 years since the original Patapon release, we were able to retrieve the Patapon beta from the one and only source that has ever been available on the internet, where we hacked into the debug menu to access the secret, normally unused mission that contained this very single entity with this unique attack.
Patapon Free RCE exploit. It is possible to perform an RCE, remote code execution, exploit via the Patapon Free netcode. With the right tools and knowledge, you can control and send commands to other players' consoles, being able to do things such as closing out of their game, corrupting their save data, or even slowing down their CPU to an unusable level. The method is extremely complicated and will not be disclosed.
Patapon Live PC Screensaver. Many years ago, when the Patapon website still existed, there was a downloadable screensaver. The screensaver consisted of characters and bosses working from one part of the screen to another, with current time in the middle. There are no mentions about the screensaver anywhere on the internet. I learned about it only from my friend who was into Patapon since forever, as they had the screensaver on their old computer. However, the file was lost. The only ever mention on the internet is a screenshot from a DeviantArt user, Reizuken. Description of the image says, "From screensaver that I download from," and a link to the now dead Patapon website. Accessing the website from web.archive.org only shows buttons for wallpapers, screensaver, avatars and ringtones. However, all the files are inaccessible and haven't been archived. This confirms that the screensaver exists, however, it is most likely forever lost, and we will never see it again. Thank you for watching the Patapon Iceberg video. A lot of work went into it and we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stuff like this. Also visit the cool dudes making this video with me and give them a subscription as well. Until next time.